Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for motivation to tap you on the shoulder like a friendly coach. Because motivation is a liar, it shows up late, it leaves early, and it only loves you when life is easy. So let me ask you something that might sting. If your goals depend on your mood, do you even have goals, or do you just have wishes? You say you want discipline, but your brain keeps bargaining. Tomorrow, next week, when I'm ready. And that's how people stay stuck for years, because they keep waiting for a feeling that was never promised. Today on Inspire Path, we're building unbreakable discipline with no motivation needed. Not hype, not quotes, a system. A weapon, a switch you can flip, even on your worst day. Here's the real problem. You don't lack discipline because you're lazy. You lack discipline because your environment, your habits, and your identity are set up to reward quitting. Your phone gives you dopamine in one swipe. Your bed gives you comfort in one fall. Your excuses give you relief in one sentence. And your brain is designed to conserve energy, not chase long-term rewards. So if you rely on raw willpower, you're fighting biology with vibes. That's why you can feel inspired at night and still do nothing in the morning. It's not your character, it's your system. Fix the system, and discipline becomes automatic. Keep the system broken, and you'll keep restarting your life every Monday like it's a subscription you never pay for. So let's build this properly. Think of discipline like a building. Motivation is paint. It's pretty temporary, useless in a storm. But systems are steel. Identity is foundation. We're not building something that works when you feel good. We're building something that works when you feel tired, stressed, bored, lonely, and tempted, because that's real life. Step 1 is the most important. Make discipline smaller than your excuses. Most people try to go from zero to hero. They decide to wake up at 5 a.m., run 10 kilometers, eat perfect, study 2 hours, and change their whole life in one day. That's not discipline. That's a motivational overdose. And what happens after the overdose? The crash, then the guilt, then the quitting, then the story. I'm not consistent. No, you were trying to lift a weight your nervous system wasn't trained for. So here's the rule. Your daily minimum must be so easy you feel stupid skipping it. Not because you're weak, but because you're smart. If your goal is to read, your minimum is 1 page. If your goal is to work out, your minimum is 5 minutes. If your goal is to build a skill, your minimum is 1 tiny rep. 1 paragraph. 1 problem. 1 push-up. 1. Because discipline isn't built by heroic days, it's built by unbroken chains. Let me make it painfully clear. The first job of discipline is not improvement, it's proof. Proof that you are the kind of person who shows up. Proof that your word means something. You don't get that proof by doing the maximum. You get it by doing the minimum. Every day, even when your brain screams, what's the point? The point is identity. The point is you're installing a new default. People misunderstand this and think small steps are useless. But small steps are not about results. They're about training. A pilot doesn't feel motivated to check the instruments. They follow a checklist, every flight. Because systems beat emotions, every time. And here's the secret upgrade. Once you complete the minimum, you're allowed to stop. Yes, stop. That's what makes it unbreakable. On days you have energy, you'll naturally do more. On days you don't, you'll still keep the chain alive. That's discipline without motivation. It's building a life that doesn't collapse when your mood changes. Step 2. Remove choice. Discipline dies in the decision-making stage. The moment you wake up and start negotiating, you're already losing. Should I go today? Maybe later? What time? After 1 more video? That's not a plan. That's mental spam. Your brain will always choose the easiest option in the moment if you give it room to debate. So you remove debate. You turn it into a rule. Rules don't require motivation. Rules require obedience. Here are examples of rules that create unbreakable discipline. After I brush my teeth, I do my 5-minute habit. Before I open social media, I complete 1 task. When I sit at my desk, I write for 10 minutes, no matter what. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I train. No negotiation. There's no mood check. Just execution. People think freedom is doing whatever you want. But the highest freedom is not being controlled by what you want in the moment. The highest freedom is being controlled by what you chose when you were thinking clearly. This is why routines are powerful. A routine is a bridge over emotional chaos. And if you're thinking, but I like flexibility, listen carefully. Flexibility without structure is just procrastination wearing perfume. You don't need a life that's rigid. You need a life that's reliable. Reliable means predictable. Predictable means less thinking. Less thinking means less resistance. Resistance is where discipline goes to die, so make it automatic. Use triggers. Attach your habit to something you already do. Your brain loves patterns. Give it one. And don't just plan to do it. Decide when, where, and what the first action is. Not, I'll work out. Instead, at 6:30 p.m., I put on shoes and do 5 minutes. The first action is tiny, physical, undeniable. Shoes on, book open. Water poured. It's hard to argue with a body already moving. Step 3. Make bad habits expensive and good habits cheap. Right now, your life is priced wrong. Quitting is cheap. Starting is expensive. Distractions are cheap. Focus is expensive. That's why you keep buying the wrong things with your time. Your job is to flip the prices. Let's talk psychology without the fluff. Your brain is a reward machine. It follows the path of least resistance to the fastest reward. So if scrolling is 1 tap and working is 15 steps, guess what wins? Every day, unless you change the environment. Discipline isn't just self-control. Discipline is architecture. You design your space to make the right choice easier than the wrong one. Here's how you do it. Put your phone in another room during focus blocks. Not on silent. Not face down. Another room. If you need it for work, use app blockers and grayscale. Put junk food out of sight, or don't buy it. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep a water bottle on your desk. Make your workspace clean and ready. Remove friction from the habit you want. Add friction to the habit you hate. Because friction is everything. A river doesn't need motivation to flow. It flows because the path is shaped for it. Shape your life like a river that flows toward your goals. If you keep your old environment, you keep your old results. It's that simple. People love to say, I need discipline. Often what they really need is a new setup. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And here's a tough truth. If you repeatedly fail, it's not because you're broken. It's because you keep returning to a setup that is perfectly designed for failure. Change the setup, and suddenly you feel more disciplined. But it wasn't magic, it was math. If good is easy, you do good more. If bad is hard, you do bad less. That's not motivation, that's design. Step 4. Track the act, not the outcome. Most people try to stay disciplined by staring at the result, the body, the money, the subscribers, the grades. But outcomes are delayed. Delayed rewards don't motivate the brain like instant ones do. So they quit before the reward arrives. That's why you have to reward the process. You track the action. Did you show up today? Yes or no? Did you do the minimum? Yes or no? That's your scoreboard, because discipline is a binary habit. It's not how hard did you go, it's did you show up. When you track outcomes, you get emotional. I didn't lose weight fast. My views aren't growing. My skill isn't improving. And then your brain does what it always does when it feels pain. It tries to escape. But when you track acts, you win every day you show up. Even if the outcome hasn't caught up yet, use a simple chain tracker. Calendar, notebook, app, doesn't matter. What matters is visible proof. Humans protect what they can see. When you see a streak, you start valuing it. Once you value it, you protect it. You don't want to break the chain because breaking it doesn't just break a habit, it breaks the story you're writing about yourself. I want you to hear this line like it's a rule carved in stone. Discipline is easier when you stop trying to feel successful and start proving you're reliable. Reliable beats talented. Reliable beats smart. Reliable beats lucky, because reliable keeps showing up long enough for talent to compound. Now there's a common mistake here. People think tracking is childish. They say, I should just do it. But you're not a robot. You're a human brain that responds to feedback. Tracking is feedback. Without feedback, your brain gets bored. With feedback, your brain gets invested. The chain becomes a mirror, and you start liking what you see. Step 5. Build identity through no matter what moments. This is where discipline becomes unbreakable. Because at a certain level, discipline isn't something you do, it's someone you are. But identity doesn't change with one big decision. It changes with repeated votes. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for a new version of you. Every time you quit, you cast a vote for the old one. so we need no matter what moments. These are the moments that make you. The days you're tired, the days you're angry, the days you're uninspired, the days life punches you in the mouth. Those days are not obstacles. Those days are the training ground. Anyone can be disciplined on a good day. The difference between ordinary and unstoppable is what you do when the day is bad. Here's the system. Choose your non-negotiable. One habit. One thing you do no matter what. Not everything. One. Because one non-negotiable becomes your anchor, and your anchor becomes your identity. Maybe it's your 5-minute workout. Maybe it's writing one paragraph. Maybe it's studying 10 minutes. Maybe it's a daily walk. It must be small enough to keep through chaos, but meaningful enough to make you proud. And when you hit a no matter what day, you don't ask, do I feel like it? You ask, what does someone like me do? Someone like you shows up? Someone like you keeps promises. Someone like you doesn't need motivation to be themselves. That's the shift. That's the moment discipline becomes quiet, natural, normal. Because the strongest people aren't the most intense, they're the most consistent. They don't do everything. They do the right things repeatedly. They are not fueled by emotion. They're fueled by identity. Now let's lock this in with a story, because you'll forget advice, but you'll remember pictures. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. He doesn't pray for the steel to become stronger. Doesn't wait for motivation to heat the fire. He repeats the process. Heat, hammer, cool. Heat, hammer, cool. Over and over. The steel doesn't become unbreakable because the blacksmith felt inspired. It becomes unbreakable because it went through controlled stress repeatedly. Your discipline is the same. Each day you show up is a hammer strike. Each time you resist quitting is heat. Each time you recover and return is cooling. The person you become is forged, not found. And look at how most people live. They avoid the forge. They avoid the heat. They avoid the hammer. They want an unbreakable life without unbreakable habits. But habits are the forge. Habits are where weak turns into strong. Habits are where future you is built in secret. There's always a turning point in this journey, and it usually comes after disappointment. You work hard for a week, and nothing changes. You stay consistent for 2 weeks, and nobody notices. You do the right things, and life still feels heavy. That's where most people quit. But that's also where the real transformation begins. Because discipline isn't proven when it's rewarded. It's proven when it's unrewarded. It's why it separates people. Most people require applause to continue. Disciplined people require alignment. They keep going because it matches who they are becoming. Now visualize the future version of you with this system installed. You wake up, and your day isn't a negotiation anymore. It's a sequence. You don't debate. You execute. You don't depend on motivation like it's a battery. You depend on rules like they're gravity. Your habits are so small they're impossible to dodge, but so consistent they become powerful. Your environment helps you win. Your streak becomes your pride, and your identity becomes armor. You become the type of person who keeps promises to themselves. It's the type of person who doesn't panic when motivation disappears, because you don't need it. It's the type of person who shows up quietly and wins loudly. Here's what's wild. When discipline becomes unbreakable, motivation returns, but it returns as a bonus, not a requirement. You start feeling motivated because you're finally getting results. But even if motivation leaves again, you don't collapse. Because your life isn't built on emotion anymore. It's built on structure. Let's make this brutally practical with a simple daily formula you can start today. First, choose your minimum habit. Make it laughably small. Second, attach it to a trigger you already do, like brushing your teeth or making tea. Third, remove one friction point from the good habit and add one friction point to the bad habit. Fourth, track it with a simple yes/no chain. Fifth, pick one sentence you will repeat when resistance hits. I don't negotiate with my goals. Or, I'm the type of person who shows up. Say it, then move. Because discipline isn't a debate, it's a decision that has been made in advance. Now a final philosophical thought to seal it. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a fire. Sparks are flashy, but they die in the wind. Fire is quiet, but it changes everything it touches. The question is not, how do I feel today? The question is, what am I building with my repeated choices? Because your life is not the sum of your intentions. Your life is the sum of your habits. The habits you repeat in private become the future you live in public. Okay, if you're ready to build that future, don't just listen, commit. Like this video so it reaches someone who's stuck in the same cycle you were in. Subscribe to Inspire Path, because this isn't just content here, it's a training ground. And comment one thing. What's your non-negotiable daily minimum starting today? 1 page, 5 minutes, 1 paragraph, 1 walk, write it down. When you name it, you claim it. And when you claim it, you become it.